Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we're talking to Temple of the Fuzz Witch. Check it out. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands, and I am talking to Noah, Joe, and Taylor from Temple of the Fuzz Witch. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you, man?
Awesome. I'm doing good, man. I got to tell you, I've been a fan for years. I think I saw you guys the first time at Fuzz Fest in 2018, and I was absolutely floored. And then every time I've seen you guys since, you keep getting better and better. And you were already fucking awesome. So I'm like, I got to get you guys on the show, and I finally did it. And so thank you so much for being on here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, thanks, man.
Awesome. So let's start off with how the band came together. How did Temple of the Fuzz Witch begin?
Oh God.
Yeah,
I'll make it short, but basically it was, I just got sick of doing like garage rock and fuzz rock stuff, like the whole Detroit kind of underground, really raw stuff. And I, was really into metal and doom, and then it turned into doom. And then I just figured, why not just put out an EP and then give me like the most ridiculous name, like influenced by Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats. So, it's such a long name, it's hard to forget. And then it just kind of took off from there. And then, the band has changed. It's, and now it's the closest thing that it's ever been to everything that I've listened to musically combined. Finally. It's taken way too long, but yeah.
Awesome. And so when did so Taylor, you're the most recent addition to the mix. How did you get in the band, and when did you start?
Me and Joe, we're both we joined roughly around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It was about a year ago to the date, honestly.
Oh,
We've been
all right.
together for about a year. Yeah. Yeah, and it all kind of just came together by Noah saying, "Hey, who wants to play in Temple of the Fuzz Witch?" And I was like, maybe. I wasn't gonna audition for bass, but I suck at playing bass, so I was like, I'm just gonna not. And then he needed a drummer too, so here I am. It all worked out.
I was just looking at Instagram, like scrolling through. I think I was like laying in bed in the morning, and it said looking for bass players, and I was like, well, I used to play bass. Yeah.
Once upon a time,
might as well, It all kind of just worked out.
Awesome. Excellent. So I think the most recent single that I saw out on Bandcamp and that I actually have is called a Call to Pray. And that it's it's a great song. It has the same like huge heavy doom riffs that you guys are known for, but there's also a little bit of a more evil element, because you added some harsher vocals to that. Wonder if you can tell me how did that song come about, and what was the inspiration for changing up the vocals a little bit?
So when I recorded, the version of that song that you hear, we have on our upcoming next album.
Oh, right.
Which we recorded, and it's scheduled to come out sometime next spring. Not too many details on that, but so what you heard on that recording was all done to tape. I just got sick of just the normal, as much as I love doom and I love like all that stoner stuff, I just got sick of just playing the role of playing. It just felt stagnant what the band was, and I saw like what was happening within. Like I click on a YouTube video and I'd see a band pop up and then their full album release, and then I just get bored within 30 seconds of listening, and then I click on another YouTube video and it would sound exactly the same. It's just become stagnant, in my opinion. It's just too generic, so I just figured, and then Red Tide was essentially an album made for everybody else, not really Temple. It wasn't like something that I was actually trying to write. It was just like, okay, this is what people like. this is what I'm gonna do for this album. And then it ended up, you know, it had some success and whatnot.
Yeah, it was good.
You know, there's some bangers on there.
Hell yeah.
But you know, that's not really the sound that I wanted with the band, and now it finally is.
Cool.
So yeah.
So like on the next album, then we can expect more of the harsher vocals.
Yeah, it's about 50-50.
Okay, cool, awesome. I like the mix. And I liked you because at the last Fuzz Fest show, you know, you had that song along with the older ones, you know, like Bathsheba and you know,
Yeah,
the really old tunes. And so it was a good contrast, I think. It really mixes it up.
the next album, I mean, not to cut you off or anything, but so I did A Call to Pray, that first single, all raw to tape. So that's all just on a 5-track, and I bounced 2 guitar tracks to 1, and then some few other tracks like the bass and drums, and then had effects tracks and whatnot. Tape people will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's the next album is it's fully produced. It was recorded at Bricktop Recording Studio in Chicago.
Cool.
Shout out Pete Grossman.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, he's
Great
amazing. Guy. Yeah, we banged it out in like 5 days.
Wow.
Or 6 days total. Yeah.
It was quick.
Well, it's good. It's good that it was 6 days. You know, hopefully it took maybe 6 hours a day, and it was done on the 6th, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
All 666.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta work in the signs, you know. So
It's a summoning album.
that's right. That's awesome. Cool. So you're looking springish. So do you? I mean, what I loved about I love the music on Red Tide, but I also like that you did it on vinyl. Do you have any hopes to do that as well with the new?
Oh, yeah. Of course. Oh yeah. We love vinyl. What can we say?
Awesome. Well, good. This is great.
Just expect it.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So what is the overall like songwriting approach like for you guys? Is it like Noah, you're like coming up with some kind of overall form, give it to Joe and Taylor and say, let's make this happen? Or do you like, I got some ideas and then throw them into the practice space and say, all right, let's make something?
It's the first thing. So like at this point, so the last song on our next upcoming album, that is like the way that the songwriting has been working. And then Joe and Taylor unfortunately wasn't there, but when we were in the studio, we were coming up with some more riffs and stuff, but it's been essentially, you know,
It's all about the riff, brother.
yeah.
That's all you need. It's just a good riff.
Yeah, just come up with the riff and then bring it to the other guys, and if they have something to throw in, you know, and I just give them a vague idea, and then if whatever they do, you know, and then we just kind of do like the feedback of each other, and then we go from there, and then it changes a lot, which is a good thing, you know, because we're incorporating their sound, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's definitely a touch of evil to the music of Temple of a Fuzz Witch and of the Fuzz Witch. You know, I always want to say of a, but there's that touch of evil, and I know that in it that you know, evil music, you know, and I use that word because it's like it's the kind of the structure for a lot of the lyrics. You know, I'm thinking of like Blackened death metal or Blackened doom, and it's always fun because it always feels like it's you're kind of like experiencing musically, at least for me, like a horror movie or something like that, but without the you know, traditional death metal thing where it's just like gore and, you know, which is fine. I mean, it's
You don't like Cannibal Corpse?
Yeah, you know, I love to listen to Cannibal Corpse. Sometimes the lyrics are like, what the fuck? But you know, I get it. You know, it's fun. So I'm wondering, what is it about that genre that intrigues each of you? What do you find most fascinating about it? And let's
Start with Taylor.
All right, let's start with Taylor.
I don't know. It's just a lot of it's kind of just like the imagery, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like the just dark, nasty, just gruesome imagery, I guess. It's just a weird thing to be drawn to, and it's just they happen to be drawn to me.
Yeah.
And like even like the sound of it, I guess, it's just like, I hate to say it, but just like the sound of depression, it just sounds so good. It's just soothing, you know? It's just a way, like, especially for me, just emotionally, it just helps me kind of radiate that.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, how about you?
Outside of music, I'm a writer. And I've always been into like fantasy and D&D and like super nerdy shit.
Yeah.
But I'm also like big into learning about the occult and just like weird esoteric facts that I'll never use anywhere. And it's kind of my outlet to put that into music and kind of combine all of the satanic panic interests that I have into one. And I'm coming from like a death thrash place. And what I like about Doom is it's a little bit more subtle. Like it's more creepy and less like it's like comparing a psychological horror to a slasher film.
Yeah.
Like I like one more than the other.
Yeah. That's a great analogy for that. Noah, how about you?
Lyrically, it's just embracing the darker side of yourself and then the darker sides of life. And then to repeat what Joe said, in a lot of ways, you know, it's going to sound so stereotypical, but the interest in the esoteric and occult and different ways of thinking and learning. That's all.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that because I felt that same way as that, you know, when Taylor, when you were mentioning that, that depression, like it's not depressing music to me. It's, I don't know. It just kind of, there's a power that radiates through it. Yeah. This dark power that radiates through it. And I don't really, you know, like I'm not a Satanist or I'm basically an atheist or I guess a humanist. But anyway, you know, it's not like kind of like a, I don't know, philosophical standpoint, just that feeling that comes out of that. Mm-hmm. And your music, you know, definitely has that thing where you just kind of like, you there's the invisible orange, you know, where you're just like, you just want to crush it, you know? And, you know, when you're talking about, or I think it was Joe, those comparisons between the slasher movies and like a psychological thriller, that's a great way to put it because it is that way, you know? You can have the gore guts, you know, cannibal corpse, you know, raw, you know, zombies eating your flesh, or you can have the kind of creepy, what was that movie? Heredity, I think it was called.
Yes.
That fucking movie freaked me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know how it goes.
So, so cool. So, I want to find out like how each of you got into music on your own. What was your journey like? Where did you start? Let's start with Joe this time.
Yeah, my mom is a big like music nerd. She would get me ready to go to kindergarten listening to like Boris and Alice in Chains and awesome. Just the kind of stuff that I still listen to now. And there were a lot of instruments around like my grandparents' house, and I'm sure I drove them up the wall just hammering out on these old acoustic guitars and pianos and just making noise essentially. And then I kind of went through high school and was in, you know, the high school bands, and I did a lot of jazz band through the high school. And after then I kind of just stuck with buddies I knew, and we were all super into like thrash, but a little bit heavier at the time. And so we threw something together and kind of moved city to city and played where people would let us. And that's kind of how I ended up here.
Awesome. Cool. Noah, how about you?
Music has always run in my family, at least for 2 generations. My grandmother was a pianist on my father's side, was a pianist in the Detroit Symphony. Yeah, and I got forced to take piano lessons from her, even though I wanted it, starting at the age of 5. I didn't want to. I just wanted to play guitar. And then I took piano lessons for 3 years, and then finally my parents were like, "Okay, you can play guitar." And then, yeah, essentially the rest is history.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Taylor, how about you?
Yeah, for me, I mean, pretty much kind of the same thing as these guys. It all just started as a kid. I mean, a lot of it I have to give a little bit of a tribute to my dad because he's the one that kind of really forced it on me and smacked it around to my head. Just growing up, just seeing all the like music videos on TV of Ozzy, and I remember just vividly seeing "Bark the Moon" and just like pretending that I was in the music video, and just really growing up on all the classics again. Alice in Chains, one of my favorite bands, Black Sabbath, and always going to concerts and stuff with my dad. Just and it all kind of just spiraled from there. He used to play drums, so I started drumming, and then same as Joe, went in school band, did all that. Like freshman year of high school, I got in my first like hardcore punk band. We were called Spitback. And I mean, it all just kind of unraveled from there. I just really enjoyed just getting all of my frustration out in music. It was a pleasure. It was just an absolute good feeling, and that's why I still do it. And I mean, it, again, just relates back to my dad and kind of just growing up around all that good shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So, who were like early like musicians that inspired you in the to play that, you know, like kind of the music you're playing, that, you know, heavier music? Who were like a couple of those people that inspired you, and do they still inspire you today?
Not necessarily heavy, but John Bonham.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you can't go wrong with John
he's definitely a
Bonham.
heavy hitter. I mean, for sure. And there's an element of the occult in Led Zeppelin's music, so
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Tommy Aldridge.
oh yeah.
He's an absolute monster. I always enjoyed watching him play. Um, it's hard for me to name specifics just because I don't personally keep tabs on a lot of people. But just if I see them, I know, and it's just like, yes.
Those dudes, cool. Joe, how about you?
I mean, for bass, it's like the big four. I mean, Geddy Lee, Geezer Butler, Al Cisneros, Lemmy. Like
This should be like
Cliff Burton. You know, the list of like crazy good bass players. But I was also big into jazz music and like psychedelic, and I play guitar too. So like, I kind of grabbed interests from wherever. Just listening to a huge range of music, and I like to try and at least incorporate little bits that I find into how I play.
Cool. Noah.
Same thing as Joe. You know, for myself, all I can say is for people out there, listen to VOCs, Dissection, listen to Fuzz as well, and Ty Segall.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So like Dissection, like the Swedish band?
Yes, correct. Yeah. I
Storm of the Lakes band.
Had, like, that influence of like just the European sound. Like, who was it? Kyle from Mothership told us that we sound like we're a European band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, like speaking of like playing and doing shows, if you guys could go anywhere in the world to play a show, where would you go? And then kind of adding on to that, like, who would you like to play on the same bill? And they could be headlining, or you could be headlining and have them open, whatever. I don't care. But where would you like to play, and who would you like to play with? Noah.
God, definitely Psycho, Desert Fest in Europe. I just want to get out of the US so bad.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. To play. I mean, like, most of our fans are out there anyway. So as far as who to headline with or who to play with, it really comes down to like the whole genre mixed with. I'd rather play with just like a whole mixed bill rather than just only like doom and sludge. It just still feels stagnant to me. I'd rather be on something closer to like even like Full Terror Assault.
Yeah.
Or Metal Threat in Chicago, or something like that, like a mixed bill, or even Heavy Hell, which is like a small bill down at the Black Circle in Indianapolis. That's always a banger every year. Yeah, not too specific with bands that I really want to play with. Just
mix it up.
And that's not necessarily just a doom thing, even though I do. I just said Psycho, Las Vegas, and Desert. But yeah.
Awesome.
Very contradicting, I know.
Yeah. That's good, man. You gotta have the yin and the yang in there. So
yeah.
That's a good point.
Taylor.
Ooh. That's a hard one. I mean, just for like travel reasons, I've always just wanted anywhere in Europe. Europe is just, I don't know, it just seems like such a good time, and just there's so many different places to go in Europe. It's just insane. That just the beauty of it all. And I mean, even like a lot of like I guess you could just like say the people over there, just experiencing all the different cultures and just how people over there experience music like differently, I guess. As far as like people to play with, I'd honestly go pretty damn close to what Noah said, with just a good mix of everything that I like personally like everything from doom all the way to like, I don't know, just weird psych stuff. Country, even if you want to throw a little bit of Hank Williams in there if he wants to play.
You sound like you want to play Muddy Roots.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Muddy Roots. Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a cool fest.
Joe.
Yeah, I've been to the UK a bunch, and I'm always like looking for excuses to go back. So somewhere in the UK, and if I'm building a bill, I want to play with Conan, Primitive Man, Wolf in the Throne Room, and Carcass. All on the
awesome.
same bill.
Yeah. Awesome.
The big one.
Yeah, those are great bands. I would love to see you guys with Carcass. That would be fantastic. That's a good mix there, right? Because you've got they're extreme, because they have that, they've kind of transcended, genres over time, right?
Yeah, too many genres. They cross and they've changed. They reinvented themselves so many times. It's beautiful. Yeah.
So that would be a great bill. Conan's awesome too, or I don't know if they say Conan. I do, but I saw them at Berserker years ago. Yeah, they kicked ass.
They're always good live.
Yeah. Another thing I think would be fun to see you guys with is Voivod.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of throw that out there and go on to their pages and say, hey, you should do a tour with these guys.
By all means. It'd be a pleasure.
Awesome. So what was the very first I know you guys are young whippersnappers, but like album, and I say that in the sense of like a release. So it could have been a CD, it could have been a tape, could have been streamed, whatever. But what was the first album that you acquired? Noah.
For me, it's been a really long time, but I don't know, I was probably like 8 years old, and it was just a Johnny Cash compilation.
Oh, awesome. Excellent.
I mean, especially like growing up like around my like grandparents, especially my grandpas.
Yeah.
They were big on all the old country, and that's kind of where it comes from, why I liked a little bit of the older country. I hate newer country because that's just garbage. It's
not even. I don't think you should even call it country, because it's like pop music for.
It's a bunch of pop stars wanting to be, spitting image of all the greats. David Allen, Merle Haggard. There'll never be another generation of country music that was like that specifically. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a few that lurk out there, like what's his name? He's big on the internet right now. Oliver Anthony or Anthony Oliver, one of those two.
Yeah,
killer, phenomenal.
Cody Jinks. Have you ever heard that guy?
Who?
Cody Jinks.
Yeah. The first time I heard him was I think it was Hippies and Cowboys. That was one of the like bigger songs, and I was like, damn, this is good. Okay. Maybe there's a little bit of hope for country music.
and you know, Flint native Whitey Morgan. So there you go.
I've heard of that one.
Oh
That's
fuck,
good.
dude, he's fantastic. He's definitely old school, like, you know,
Okay, cool.
Waylon Jennings kind of thing.
Perfect.
If you like old country, which you know, like you, my dad loved fucking country music, and so I was like, Jesus Christ, you know, at the time didn't really, you know, there was a period where all I wanted to listen to was metal, and hearing that shit, I'm like, but then later I was like, fuck, I should have been listening to it.
It creeps up on you, dude.
Yeah.
I used to hate on it for a long time too, but then boom. Love it.
Yeah. Joe, how about you?
So I'm old enough to have owned and listened to cassettes.
All right.
That's baby face, but I do fondly remember my cassette collection. My first was a bootleg copy of Kill 'Em All on a red cassette with a handwritten like label.
Whoa.
Did Dave Mustaine write it?
That's an inside joke.
He wished he did. But yeah, I played it until, I mean, it was not a very good quality. I'm pretty sure they had popped the tape into something and then like recorded next to a sound system. It sounded terrible, but I played it until it fell apart.
Awesome. That's awesome. Noah.
I remember at the age of 9, it was my cousin, similar to Joe, gave me a bootleg, well, a burned CD of a CKY playlist that he essentially gave me that I should have listened to because I was like into skateboarding and stuff, and I used to watch, you know, like all like those CKY tapes on actual like VHS as a kid. You know, Darren Miller was like my idol along with Bam Margera, so that's where like that kind of came from. But yeah, so he finally gave me a tape or CD, and then that was it. Listening to that on a CD player. Yeah.
Excellent. What was the very first concert you guys went to? Who wants to go first?
Yeah,
I remember.
God.
All right.
I was 13, and I begged and begged and begged my dad to let me go see Slayer. And I showed up to the show with him. He got me through the door and was like, I'm not staying for this. I'll come pick you up later. And I pretty much can trace the rest of my life from that point. It like, there were two paths, and I went down the path that was the Slayer show.
Excellent. Where was that Slayer show at?
That was at it was called the Mirage at that point in Indianapolis.
Okay.
In the Egyptian Room.
Nice. Who was on the bill with them then? I
couldn't tell you. I was just so like outside of my mind to go see Slayer.
So, you know, I got to tell you that Slayer was like an acquired taste for me, because I'm old enough that like very first shows I went to was like Rush, and for like rolling or for moving pictures, and then like shortly after that I got to see Iron Maiden like open for Rainbow. So yeah, this was when Number of the Beast came out. So you know, I was like in that mode pretty heavy, like Angel Witch, Iron Maiden, you know, Testament and that kind of stuff later. But then so Slayer, like my brother started listening, my little brother, he's like 8 years younger than me. He started listening to Slayer, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because at the time it was like so fast, and like I was more into like, you know, more melodic like lead guitar playing. And when you listen to Kerry King and Jeff Henneman, like it's chaos. Like
there's no melody.
Yeah, well, and then you don't realize it. Well, at the time I was like, what the fuck? It sounds like just like chaos. But then when you listen to the music and the speed they were playing and everything, then you kind of realize that's the only way you could have played a solo over that shit is, you know, to
I
instill that kind of chaos?
I mostly got into it because, and I'm sorry, Lisa, my stepmom was super Catholic, and it made her uncomfortable, and I was a piece of shit. So
Nice. Well, that was the other thing is back then when I first got into Slayer, I was a janitor over at it's used to be, well, I think it's Trinity Health now, but it was whatever it was. It's Catholic, right? And they used to have like a substance abuse center for like kids, and I'd be cleaning there, and they have like a priest there, and in his office was "Show No Mercy," like the album. I'm like,
that's awesome.
what the hell? So yeah, cool.
Either confiscated or he's one of the good ones.
That's right. He's converted. He's converting the next generation. Yeah. Noah, how about you?
I believe it was 9 Inch Nails and Soundgarden yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was probably was that? Do you remember if it was Super Unknown or was?
Oh no, I forget specifically what they played. They played a bunch of stuff. Soundgarden played a bunch of shit off of Bad Motorfinger, and then it was Super Unknown, and it was like that anniversary thing.
Yeah.
That they played a bunch of stuff out there too. So yeah.
They were supporting, weren't they? So
yeah, they were supporting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to like other like small stuff, but that was like the first concert that I like really wanted to go to.
Yeah.
So I consider that my first one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do each of you remember the very first time you were on stage and what that experience was like, and what did you take away from that? Let's start with Taylor.
Yeah. So again, like 14 years old. First band, Spitback. We played at a tiny little place called Refuge Skate Shop. It's in Dearborn, Michigan. And it was just small show, nothing too crazy, but I mean, for a small, like mainly local show, it actually kind of popped off, and I was like, okay, I like this. I'm going to keep doing it. Especially just like it being hardcore and just like all the energy and everything. It just definitely helped kind of bring up the mood.
Excellent. Noah, how about you?
Some talent show when I was a kid.
Woo!
Like an elementary school. I mean, we're talking like very early on. Yeah. Pretty simplistic, but there you go. Yeah. I get to compare for myself.
Well, I mean, if school band counts, then that's a little bit different because I started there. Sixth grade, but I mean, like actual like a band.
Yeah, elementary.
Yeah, nice. Joe, how about you?
I was probably 13. So around like 2003, and it was with my high school band called Fuck Fist.
Please tell me you played at the school.
No, we played at one of my buddies' parents went out of town, and they were like the rich family with the nice basement.
Yeah.
Everybody knew one of those families. They had like the pool table and shit down there. And we played, and it was like really fun. And I remember like, oh, all the girls I have a crush on are like looking at me, and now they think I'm cool and not just the weirdo who reads D&D books in study hall. So what kept me going initially was very superficial, like teenager stuff.
Right.
But yeah,
Nice.
Good Lord.
That's what you say. Good Lord, yeah.
So do you guys have any like pre-show rituals, things you have to do before you get on stage?
Just move around a little bit for me, honestly. get a little loosey-goosey and just let it rip.
usually stretch and like if I can like go for a walk like a block or two around the venue, or I have to get out of the venue for at least like half an hour or so just to like think about something else. Because if I stand there the whole time, I'm going to be like fidgety and just nervous energy.
I'm pretty similar to going that way too. But, you know, like I'll maybe just sit in like the green room or whatever and then just like, think about stuff. Yeah. Just maybe for like the last like 10 minutes before, just sit by the merch or, you know, just whatever.
Yeah.
Quick decompress. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there, you know, if somebody was, if somebody said, well, that somebody being me, like if there was like 3 albums that kind of define you, like if you were gonna say, this is, you want to know about me, you need to like listen to these 3 albums. What are those 3 albums for each of you?
Might be waiting.
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, one, it definitely has to be Nutshell, Alice in Chains. It's just, I don't know, I just take that album very, very deeply and very personally. And then I would probably have to say, like I said, you might be waiting a minute.
That's okay. That's okay.
Lightning at the Door by All Them Witches, just because that's such a banger of an album to me. It's just so good. And like, if you want to like know my like favorite kind of like music taste and exactly what I like, it's All Them Witches.
Nice.
And then the last one, again, more just to kind of just like know my taste in a sense. Great Western Valkyrie by Rival Sons, because again, one of my favorite bands.
Awesome. Joe, how about you?
Oh shit. It's thinker of a question.
Probably Moving Pictures. God, it has to be 3, huh?
Magic number.
That's right.
Moving Pictures. Adiabatic Songs by Ohm.
Okay.
And maybe Pink by Boris.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Excellent.
How many? I know. Especially when you're trying to think of them all. It's just like,
it's hard. Yeah, I
know it's hard. Again in a year, and those 3 will be different.
Let me compile
a
list.
Well, you know, and that's the funny thing about that question is like tomorrow it'll be different, right? Because your mood shifts, you know. So right now you're feeling this, and tomorrow is another, you know, shade of you, and so it's could be completely different.
Yeah.
Noah, how about you?
We Live by Electric Wizard, The Somberling by Dissection, and then it comes down to either Old Locomotive by the Murlocs or Belouse by Burzum.
Oh, nice. Burzum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Somberling, I forgot about that album.
It's a good one.
I saw those dudes at Harpo's. Opening for At the Gates.
Okay. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Jealous.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I saw At the Gates warm up for Napalm Death. So in Toledo.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in love with At the Gates. I still am. I even wrote those guys a letter. I have the letter, and they sent me a picture. I can't remember if it was Tomas or who responded. Because I asked, you know, about like, because at that time, like for me, I was that's when I got into death metal, but like melodic death metal. I heard Carcass Heartwork, and I heard oh man, why do I always blank out on the name of the At the Gates album? It's not Slaughter of the Soul. It's one before with the red hand. Shit, can't think of it. I always blank out on the name, but anyway. It's got the Beautiful Wound on it and other things. And I heard that and I was like, oh my God. And So, and then I got into Dissection and
okay.
So it was like a long train, Amorphous. And then, So, So if you guys could go sit down and have whatever your favorite beverage is, beers, whatever, with somebody alive or dead, and just talk with them, who would that be, and what would you like to talk to them about? Joe, how about you?
I mean, partially due to my musical tastes and interests, partially because he never does interviews, and we're into kind of a lot of the same transcendental meditation type of stuff. I'd love to talk to El Cisneros about specifically not even the music, just like meditation and philosophy and that kind of thing, because he's got, at least from what I can glean, a very interesting mind when it comes to how he approaches spirituality. I guess spirituality wouldn't be the right word, but he holds a lot close to the chest, and I think that it would be interesting, less for me to talk to him and more for me to listen to what he has to say,
if he will.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Taylor.
I feel like it's kind of generic, but Lemmy Kilmister, and again, I just want to sit there and listen to that guy talk. I just feel like he's just one crazy, just insane dude, and I just feel like he had a hell of a life, and I just want to listen to the absolute debauchery that man got into.
Yeah. Did you ever see that documentary, that thing he did? Like, toward the tail end of his life, but that was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was the one where were they in Europe doing it?
I think they were in the U.S. because they stopped in at what's the Rainbow Bar?
At the Rainbow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I might be just recalling differently.
I think they were even at his apartment or something.
Okay. Yeah. Because they did like a whole walkthrough and seen all of his memorabilia and stuff. Yeah.
That's cool.
Fun watch.
Yeah, he would be cool to talk to. Noah, how about you?
Probably somebody like Carl Jung, or I mean, I find musicians pretty fucking boring, so not really many musicians that I really want to talk to too much. So yeah.
Cool. So you guys are you've got the new album coming up, right?
Yes.
Sometime next year. And then I know you guys are going on tour, when is that happening?
2 weeks.
Yeah, October.
Believe it or not.
Throw those dates out.
Excellent.
The 14th, we will be at
Tennessee Metal Devastation Festival down in Jackson, Tennessee, and then we go till
22nd.
Yeah,
where
the sanctuary where we end. But I mean, we go up through Ohio, Indiana. We play Reggie's in Chicago, Minneapolis, Milwaukee. Yeah,
Madison.
Yes.
Madison.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Midwest.
It's just like a little thing just to get our foot out the door just for now. So
yeah,
I mean, it's been quite a few years since we've done something else other than just a couple one-offs or weekend runs. So
yeah, that'll be
time to get back out there, So
right, hell yeah. And so maybe next year you'll be off to Europe or something like that. That'd be awesome.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anybody in Europe?
That's right. So, question about the new album: you guys aren't on a label? You're doing it all independently, right? Or are you on a label?
No comment.
Yeah, we can't.
All right. Well, that's good news.
In between.
Yeah. So potentially some label action and support. So that would be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for being on Fans with Bands. I've got one last question for you, for each of you, and that is: pineapple or no pineapple on pizza?
No.
No. Joe?
No.
Sometimes. If it's got bacon and jalapeno with it. Yes.
All right.
As a kid, my specialty pizza
was a Hawaiian, wasn't it?
Green pepper and pineapple. And I ate that shit up, and it was wonderful.
They're sick in the fucking head. So
That's true.
So I got to ask you, Taylor, like just green pepper and pineapple, or pepperoni and
Yeah,
sesame?
literally just green pepper and pineapple.
Wow.
Now,
Well,
that's
I mean, with cheese, obviously.
yeah, but that's probably the most unique answer I've heard for that. Because like Joe, your combo, which actually I've not tried, but it kind of sounds interesting, is the jalapeno with it. I mean, for me, I think fruit should not be on pizza. So I'm like, I'm kind of in the Noah camp with like, fuck that. Just put a bunch of meat on there. We're good to go. But
I had one time with pear on it. It was actually pretty good.
Oh, dude, now we're getting crazy.
It was weird, but it was good.
This is psychosis you're witnessing.
It only gets worse. It only gets worse.
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, thank you again so much for being on Fans with Bands. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks for having us, man.
All right, cool. Many thanks to Noah, Joe, and Taylor for joining me on this episode of Fans with Bands. Temple of the Fuzz Witch are fantastic and great to talk with. They are disciples of the mighty Riff playing heavy doom with all the fixins. The band's new album is just about ready for prime time. They hope to have it out in early 2024. In the meantime, grab their new single, A Call to Pray, and keep an eye on their socials for upcoming gigs. See the show notes for all the details and links. Bands are nothing without you, the fans. Purchasing music and merchandise is critical to their survival. If you can help out your favorite bands, please do. If you're in Michigan, consider following the Playing in Detroit Area Tonight and SE for Southeast Michigan Music Facebook pages. They are fantastic places for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show, telling your friends, telling your neighbors, telling your family, telling your priest, tell everyone, and leave a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jam.